smart speaker and on the SEMO ESPN app. This is a local sports center update from Southeast Missouri's ESPN Radio Network.
I'm Eric Sean. The SEMO baseball team dropped 2 of 3 over the weekend at home to Austin Peay. The Redhawks lost the series finale Sunday 10-2. The Governors scored 9 runs in the second inning. That's all they needed. The Govs banged out 13 hits. Southeast finished with 6 hits. The Redhawks are last in the league in runs scored in conference game. They're playing without 4 starting players due to injuries. The 13-11 Redhawks wrap up their 5-game homestand with a 6 o'clock game tomorrow at home with Arkansas State. The SEMO softball team is off to a 3-1 start in OVC play. Coach Mark Redburn's Redhawks improved to 25-8 by splitting a pair of games at Belmont Sunday, a 3-2 victory, a 7-0 loss. Southeast swept a doubleheader at Tennessee State Saturday, 8-0 and 11-1. The Redhawks host Morehead State in Eastern Kentucky this weekend. The St. Louis Blues are riding a 3-game winning streak as they get ready to host Las Vegas tonight at 7 o'clock. The Note beat the best team in hockey Saturday, a 4-3 victory over Tampa Bay. St. Louis has 7 games left in the regular season.
Get local sports updates on SEMO ESPN 1220, SEMOESPN.com, and the SEMO ESPN app.
Does having a game on the TV make a sports bar? Wings, etc. in Cape and Jackson beg to differ. They take their sports bar status serious. Wings, etc. is the host of the SEMO Coaches Show every Monday from noon to 1. You can watch SEMO away games at Wings, etc. Plus, get lunch specials and daily specials like 69-cent wings on Monday, 69-cent rib tips on Tuesday, 59-cent shrimp on Wednesday, 69-cent wings on Thursday and Friday, too. Plus, they've got free Wi-Fi and a full-service bar and craft beer. Wings, etc. The definition of a sports bar.
The SEMO Ball Awards, presented by Southeast Health, returns July 13th to the River Campus in Cape Girardeau. This year's keynote speaker is former St. Louis Cardinal and current broadcaster Rick Horton. VIP experience and general admission tickets are on sale now at SEMOBall.com/awards. The SEMO Ball Awards brought to you by presenting sponsor Southeast Health, official bank sponsor of the Bank of Missouri, the St. Louis Cardinals, SEMO, ESPN Radio, Rust Media, and your local newspaper. Get your tickets today at SEMOBall.com/awards.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
Areas of fog to start off the day, clouds, and the threat of a shower this afternoon with temperature up to 56 today. Skies clear tonight, low 35. Sunny tomorrow with a high 55. And generous sunshine on Wednesday, up to 61. A few clouds on Thursday. Thursday's high 67. Richard Wettigan, the Weather Channel.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Golick for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
This is a proud presentation of Mississippi River Radio Sports, the sports authority. Live in the studio. It's time for the Redhawks Coaches Show. Live from Wings, etc. Hear the Coaches Show each week on SEMO ESPN 1220 and 1470. And also at SEMOESPN.com and the SEMO ESPN app. Also watch the Redhawks Coaches Show webcast live at SEMOESPN.com. Now, let's go live to Wings, etc. for the Redhawks Coaches Show.
Welcome in. We've got another edition of the Redhawks Coaches Show from Wings, etc. We're in the Cape Girardeau location, and this is our second straight week here, so we'll let you know up front. We'll be over in the Jackson location next Monday at 12 noon, and Mondays always mean 69 cents for their award-winning jumbo wings at Wings, etc. If you're coming for lunch, their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.99. And if you'd like something other than their award-winning jumbo wings, they have a fully diversified menu. Their burgers, subs, wraps, quesadillas, entree, salad, smoked ribs, and much more. And their appetizer lineup includes their ultimate nachos and their deep-fried pickle spears. So it is a wide-ranging menu at Wings, and you can not only eat it here and enjoy it here and enjoy lunch with us, but you can also call ahead, get it to go. We just saw a gentleman walking out with a to-go order, taking probably lunch back to the office. You can do that as well. Wings, etc. in Cape and Jackson. We're going to be talking football on this show. Coach Tom Matukowicz is here. Redhawks quarterback Daniel Santa Catarina is here as well. The Redhawks are right now finishing, well, they finished their first week of spring practice. They are practicing 15 times over 4 weeks, and then the workouts will end with the spring game, and that's going to be on April 13th. Coach Tuke is here. How has spring workout time been going so far?
Well, it's a beautiful time of the year. You know, all the pieces are now here, and as a coach, it's like a big puzzle. You're trying to put everything together, and that's what spring's all about. And so we just finished 4. You know, we can't practice in full uniform the whole time. So our first 2 practices was just in a helmet. Then our last 2 were in pads, and we had a 75-play scrimmage on Saturday. So off to a great start. I'm fired up. How
about the temperatures right now? Because nothing is hot and humid or anything right now. I would think it's comfortable for them to practice.
Yeah, no, we've had really good weather, and seems like winter stayed on a little too long. But you know, as soon as football started, it seemed to warm up a little bit, and the rain's been hit or miss. But no, we have excellent weather.
I know when you get a little closer to the start of the academic year, 2-a-days will start and things like that. Is it just 1 workout per day? No 2-a-days at this point?
Yep, only 1 workout, and a lot of rules and regulations on how to practice, and it all goes back to the well-being of the athletes, which is great. Even when I first got here, we didn't do 2-a-days. I just think that's an old thing. They're in the best shape of their life from summer, so you don't need double practices to teach them how to play football. And so I've never believed in that. And so yeah, we got our rhythm down and about how to get them ready now. It's all in the little fine details of who we got, what it is that they got to get better, and how do we put all these things together.
You had a really big signing class. How tough is it to learn all the new names? I mean, do guys have to wear name tags? They got to wear their name on their helmet or on their jersey, and just learning everybody's names got to be tough.
Yeah, it is. You know, you're recruiting them for so long, you get to know them pretty good, and so the name's not too big a problem. But you know that is what's hard about our business. You know, if you're constantly having new employees every single year, it gets pretty hard, right? Well,
yep.
Same thing in athletics, man. You got a lot of turnover. We had several turnover on staff and several turnover on the player side, and so onboarding and getting everybody on the same page, you have to be great at, because you got to do it all. You know, got to act like last year didn't happen. You can't let anything from last year, you don't assume it's going to carry over to this year, and so you got to reteach everything and start like they don't know anything.
You've been around the game for a long time. Have you ever been a part of a signing class where you signed 14 offensive linemen? You have 14 offensive linemen in your recruiting class.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that group. Big group. I think the thing that we wanted was depth. We wanted competition. You know, it was a great opportunity there for a lot of guys, and so I think that's why a lot of guys came. Not all of those guys are scholarship guys, which you need also because they're just as important because they're the future that we're going to develop. And so far, it's looking good in spring. I think we got some good depth. You know, we lose 4 of the 5 starters, and so that is, you know, the thing that everybody's going to look at. Well, what's that going to look like? And if that doesn't look well, it's going to be hard. Even though we got really good skilled players all around it, you know, it's going to be hard to make touchdowns and convert first downs.
Now, we won't name each individual player, but anybody that's looking over the roster is going to see the name Allnut, and they will say, now, Jaron Allnut, is that any relation to former athletic director Mark Allnut? And the answer is yes, it is.
Yes, it's his son, and of course I knew Jaron when he was here. He was down in Memphis as a high school football player, and you know, we recruited him, and you know, I was surprised that he, you know, didn't want to head towards where the family is. But when you kind of go back and you look at it, it makes sense because he's lived in Missouri more than he's lived anywhere else.
Right.
Because, you know, they came from Columbia, then they were here. You know, they're born, I think, in Kansas City, and so Missouri's home to Jaron, and I'm excited about him, and obviously several others.
How much do you get to keep in contact with Mark Allnut? What a run they had, not only in football but in men's basketball. I know they were eliminated from the NCAA tournament, but MAC champs. They've had a pretty good run there with Mark Allnut as their athletic director.
It's amazing. You know, I got an 11-year-old or 12-year-old daughter, Georgia. She filled out a bracket. You know, she doesn't even know if the basketball's pumped or it's stuffed. But she had Buffalo winning it all.
Really?
She did. So I sent a picture to Allnut and told him no pressure. But, you know, he's doing a great job up there. And obviously he inherited some really good coaches. And so that's fun to see them have success.
All right. Is that the biggest, in your mind, the biggest question mark going into next season? What is that offensive line going to be when it's all said and done?
Yeah, I think, you know, there's a lot of unknowns. I don't know that it's a concern yet because I feel like we got some good players there. It's just whether or not we could get them to come together. We got to find out who our best is, and then our best need to work with each other. You know, last year it ended up being, you know, kind of our Achilles heel a little bit. Once we got up in the playoffs and against some good teams, you know, we lost a point of attack several times, and it really made it hard. So far so good, and certainly if that doesn't go well, we won't have a chance to do the things that everybody wants us to do.
The game against Weber State, there were a lot of times where Daniel was running for his life in that game. I mean, he did a great job, but there were times where, boy, he really didn't have a whole lot of time to kind of look at the progressions down the field.
No, they had elite D linemen. Yeah. They were really strong, really long at the point of attack, and so, you know, even running the ball and passing made it hard, and Daniel did a good job scrambling several times, and our backs, you know, found ways to make plays, but we got to continue to develop them in the weight room, and this summer will be huge for those guys also.
Coach Tom Batukowicz joining us. So it's the Redhawks Coaches Show. Daniel Santa Catarina, SEMO quarterback, going to join us a little bit later. I think he just put his order in, so his lunch will be on the way here. He is talking with Joe Hobbs, who is in mourning over the retirement of Rob Gronkowski. The news broke yesterday, so no more Gronk to root for Joe Hobbs. Maybe a name or two of offensive linemen that you expect are probably going to be competing for a starting job, maybe a name or two of, you know, for Red Hawk fans to kind of get used to on the offensive line.
Yeah, I hate to name some, but, you know, obviously everybody's going to look at our left tackle, Drew Forbes, great player and just hugely impactful, but really the most concern I have is center. The Lucas Orchard was really, really good because a lot of communication goes through there. The better your center is, it helps the whole O-line. So that's really my main concern. Dane Nelson is a junior college transfer out of California who's just a tremendous, you know, kid. He's never gotten a B in his life. You know, just loves football, and right now he's repping with the ones. Manny Pride is also a junior college kid out of there. Same, very, very similar situation there. And Brent Selesky is a guy that's been here a while, has been here 3 years, and he's also battling at center. Then at tackle, you know, we have Ja'Kai Baker, who's you know, really intriguing guy. He's more like 6'7", 330.
He's listed at 6'6", 295, so he's bigger.
Yeah, he is a large human being. Played D-line his whole life. He's only played O-line 1 year, so he's got tremendous upside, moves really, really well. Terry Cook's a tackle out of Texas that also has 3 years, so he's just a sophomore who's also doing a good job with the newcomers.
So if you are Ja'Kai Baker and you're making the transition from D-line to O-line, how tough is that to make that transition at the collegiate level?
It's really tough. But, you know, we practice year-round, especially O-line and D-line. There's a lot of fundamentals you don't need a football to get better at. And so that's the thing is you know, Ja'Kai and all these other guys need to realize at Division I, everybody's good. You know, you've gotten to this point because you're bigger, you're faster, you're stronger, or you're whatever. At this point, it don't matter. So now it's all about, can you master your craft, and your technique matters. And, your conditioning matters and your mindset matters, and all those things are what put you over the top. And so that's why you need great competition, so those guys can't just show up and do it. Like, they have to really prepare or they'll get exposed.
Well, they're going to be blocking not only for your quarterback, Daniel Santa Catarina, but also your running backs. And losing Marquez Terry, obviously he's the top offensive weapon in the Ohio Valley Conference, Player of the Year, All-American. What names are we going to be getting familiar with? Obviously, Mark Robinson and Zion Custis were guys who played well last year, and both of those guys are scheduled to be back, right?
Yeah. The one thing about Terry is, man, we lost a huge cornerstone in the locker room. Like, he probably is the best teammate I've ever coached. To have his profile but his humbleness and his willingness to be a friend to everybody, and just, I mean, he made so many plays that had nothing to do with the ball in his hand. Like, he is a guy that turned this program around, and I'm just so thankful for him. And now we got to replace him. And the thing about that, it's like replacing staff. We're not going to replace Marquez Terry. We just have to have other guys come up and fill in for those yardage and those type of things. And we recruited well. Mark Robinson, Zion Custis, and another guy, his name is Geno Hess, who ended up redshirting but did play some.
Played a little at Austin P, and from what I saw, just the little that we saw, looked really good.
Yeah, could have played all year, but we wanted to try and save his year, and we're glad that we did.
Maybe it was Tennessee Tech. Maybe it was a Tech game that he played in where you really blew them out.
Yeah, I think you're right. But anyway, feel great at those three. We'll need all three. That is a position that gets banged up just like Quez, and so they have to understand and be bought into the team and the mission. Like, not one of them going to carry it 40 times a game. We're going to spread it around and all those, and they're getting better, and I'm super excited about their new coach. Brandon Jackson is a guy that has a Super Bowl ring. I mean, he's an NFL running back, so I really like that profile because he could get, all three of those guys could be an elite level guy. They're not anywhere close to that, but they could. And so hopefully he can influence them. He already has the respect of those guys just because of his profile. Now he's got to, go be a coach and go help them find their ceiling.
Zion Custis really burst onto the scene, especially late in the year, the big kickoff return for a touchdown against Eastern Illinois. Did you see him just get better the more reps that he got last year behind Marquez Terry?
Oh, yeah, for sure. He was a guy that didn't get here until August. You think
so
about
he got
that.
A late start, yeah.
Late start, and for a freshman, like, he's really skilled and really gifted. But most of the stuff he did was just because of, he's good. Now we got to get him good at all the other things. And he ripped off a 70-yard run Saturday against our defense, did a great job, and made a guy miss, but also got it over with, and I think had a great winter. Improved his 40, took 2/10 off his 40, and you could probably eat lunch off his head. Like, he's little bitty now that way,
right?
But he's like a bowling ball. Like, he has arms like D lineman and legs like D lineman. Like, he's not slight. He's small, compact, and so he's kind of hard to tackle. Can't get your arms around him, and plus he's lightning fast and quick.
Sometimes you see a smaller back, and sometimes those guys will go down with arm tackles. What you're saying is Custis is not a guy that's going down with arm tackles.
You look at him and you say, well, he's a small back. No, he's not really. No, he's not. Like, he'll break a lot of arm tackles.
And so you say that he improved his speed. That's something Marquez Terry did from his junior to senior season. Is Custis a guy that can run away from defenders?
Yeah, I think he's got the chance. I think he's got to continue to have a great summer. Most of our winter program is on mass and strength. Then in the summer we kind of turn to speed, so it's just we'll see what he could do this summer. And Coach Zerbach, he's got a tough job. My new strength and conditioning coach is taking over for Coach Napoli, who did a great job for us. And the bar is high, but so far, man, he's done a great job, and I know we're in good hands. And that's what I got to get him and his staff to be able to do, is to get our players better in the summer.
And Coach Napoli, it's can't think, where did he end up going?
He went to Northern Illinois.
That's
up
it.
Up in DeKalb.
So a place that you are very familiar with. I mean, you've still got ties up at NIU, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It made it hurt just a little more.
Well, he did a fantastic job. I know you really appreciated what he brought to your program.
You know, he was what we needed when we needed it. I mean, period. And we'll be forever thankful. But that's what makes my job unique. 2 years ago, that's what we needed. This year, we don't need that. We needed something else in a strength coach, and that's what I looked for in this hire. And that's what makes the dynamic of putting all these pieces together so hard, because it's just not, hey, let's go get this guy every year. You have to really know your team well enough to know what it is you need this year to help this football team.
Mark Robinson, also last year, Coach, average almost 5 yards per carry, 4.9, right at 5 yards, 364 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns for Robinson, who is a power back.
Yeah. I like the fact that we have some diversity back there. You know, guys that because that's hard to tackle. You know, all of a sudden you're trying to tackle Zion. Well, then all of a sudden you're trying to tackle Mark. You're going to get ran over.
Yeah.
And so those type of combinations are nice. In some games you may want more of a downhill run game versus a lateral run game. And so it's nice to have those options. And I think Gino's very similar to Zion. He's got the upper end speed and the shake. He's got a little more booty, so he's got a little more downhill run game in him. But all three of them are nice. They're all three different, which is what makes them great.
Marquez Terry could help you in the passing game. He could catch the ball out of the backfield. How do these guys rate as potential weapons in the passing game?
I think they got to continue to grow. You know, I think that is something that you know, we got to continue to get them the skill sets, because that's who they are. If we can get them out in the open field space and all that, that's dynamite. But there's a lot to it, you know, with protections and when he could get out and all those things. So look for that to continue to improve.
Christian Wilkerson, Coach, put together another terrific season, 14 touchdown receptions, and he was the #1 target for Daniel Santa Catarina. It's hard to believe he's going to be a senior coming up. Seems like he just got here, but, man, has he gotten better since he stepped on campus.
He really has, and has continued to improve, and super proud of him. So far this spring, you know, he's been elite. You know, sometimes it's hard to have a good senior year, to be honest. In fact, I've never had a good year where our seniors didn't go out playing their best ball. And so sometimes seniors get caught up in going to the NFL, or they get caught up in all these other things instead of being a good football player. And so far, man, he's really locked in and excited about little things in his game he could get better at. And, you know, he peeled a couple off Saturdays, just so strong at reception point. You know, he doesn't look like any DB you've seen, right?
No.
And so just when the ball's up there, man, he's really good at it.
All right. Also, Jarek Orr kind of burst onto the scene for you last year as well.
Now, Jarek's no longer in the program.
Okay.
But I tell you, the guy that Zach Smith's a guy that's done a lot of things. He's a punt returner. He's kind of the slot guy like Orr, and continue to do well.
And a guy that you like. I know technically it's a pass when you run an end around or a jet sweep, because, you know, Daniel kind of flips the ball, but it's really an extension of the run game, and his speed makes him electric in that facet of the game, right?
Yeah, and I think he's better. He's even faster than you think. Like, he is a get-it-over-with guy, and he's had several plays on special teams and that, but has done a great job. And a walk-on kid that really kind of come on was this Colby Cornett. You know, he was a guy that –
he was a quarterback in high school.
Quarterback in high school, option quarterback. He's really shifty and got great skill and has done a good job. And I'll tell you right now, a guy that is maybe the most improved player that we have in our program right now is a guy named Taylon Waller. He's been here. He'll end up being a junior next year. He's got the frame. He's a 6'2", 200-pound guy that's really starting to come on, and he's shown some great signs this spring.
I think his lone catch was in the Tech game. He caught a touchdown, right?
Yep. And so he had biggest thing is he's got to get better with getting off a press, and so that's really and he's done a good job with that. So I'll tell you,
how much of an adjustment is that when you get press coverage and they're trying to jam you at the line of scrimmage, for a guy to be smart enough and strong enough
technique,
to be able to
exactly, because that's what they don't understand. You know, if you're not very good at it, they're going to jam you in the front row. You know, you got to do a great job. Like SIU, Mizzou, Montana State, they're going to press you and they're going to make you beat them over the top to respect you. And so you got to be able to do that with speed, but also technique.
We're going to talk about the schedule here, Coach. We'll do that a little bit later on in the show. We want to bring Daniel Santa Catarina up here. The one thing that we do want to make sure that everybody recognizes is that you have many of your star defensive players back from last year, including Zach Hall, who became the first ever Buck Buchanan Award winner in the history of Southeast Missouri State University. OVC kind of had that market cornered the last couple of years, but how cool was that? And I know he got to go to the national championship game to get his honor, and I know you were there, and Brady Barkey, the athletic director, was there. How proud were you of that honor for Zach Hall?
It was a historic day. And Zach will tell you this, there's no way for Zach to have that if it wasn't for his defense and it wasn't for the D-line and it wasn't for the season we had. And so really that's a program award. And to be able to have a national program, the national player precedes that, right? You got to have national players to have a national program. And to be there and it's amazing. On the final list of the Buck Buchanan Award list, each quarter or whatever, they bring out a list. He wasn't on the final list.
Really?
Yeah, Hansa and I think Hansa and Brady got him on the final list because people just wouldn't wear a SEMO and kind of snuck up on people this year, and they put him on there like, yeah, he needs to be on there, and they ends up winning it.
That's great.
It's amazing, and got to see the championship game, which I was glad. I wish I could have flown every player down there because that would have been a great experience for them, because I want them to see we're not far off. Really not. I think the difference is the developing, the O-line, the D-line, and the consistency of players, not playing first and second-year players, try to play 3- and 4-year players. But tremendous night for him, his family, and for Redhawk football.
And he's back, and oftentimes those big awards end up going to seniors. They're not,
exactly.
Not very often does it happen to a junior, and he's coming back for another year. Boy, what a luxury. Not only is he coming back, Justin Swift, another guy who probably, if Zach Hall wasn't in the league, Justin Swift may have been the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, I agree. Both just, the thing that makes him great is the game-changing type plays they make. It's not just tackles, right? It's the turnovers, the sacks, the scoop score for touchdown-type plays that those two guys really do a great job. And, again, goes back to how good our D-line is. They don't get enough of that love, but, these guys are doing that because people aren't able to block them and stuff.
I know you would deflect this, but, it's something you are more involved with the defense. But you have identified these playmaking defensive players since you have been the coach here. I mean, you have brought in some guys who have been really good linebackers. I mean, really elite players. But you've identified them in the recruiting process, and you've gotten them here.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I didn't. But Coach Sy and those guys, and I tell you, Coach French and Coach Martin do a great job coaching them. And, I coach linebackers my whole life, so, I do enjoy it. And that's like if I'm having a bad day, I'll go grab one of them, just coach him for a little bit because I just enjoy it. But, it's a linebacker-friendly scheme. It's a 3-4, and we got big D linemen. Coach Sy does a great job getting them in third down situations where we can attack them. And, we just got to keep it going.
We'll continue our conversation with Coach Tuke in just a little bit, but we will take a timeout here, and when we come back, we'll talk with the Redhawks quarterback, Daniel Santa Catarina. He will join us at Wings, Etc. in Cape. It's the Redhawks Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN.
We make a sports bar, wings, etc. in Cape and Jackson beg to differ. They take their sports bar status seriously. Wings, etc. is the host of the SEMO Coaches Show every Monday from noon to 1. You can watch SEMO away games at Wings, etc. Plus, get lunch specials and daily specials like 69-cent wings on Monday, 69-cent rib tips on Tuesday, 59-cent shrimp on Wednesday, 69-cent wings on Thursday and Friday, too. Plus, they've got free Wi-Fi and a full-service bar and craft beer. Wings, etc. The definition of a sports bar.
Get registered today for the St. Jude Disc Golf Classic powered by the SEMO Disc Golf Club. April 6th, Scott City Park Disc Golf Course, Horseshoe Pavilion. This tournament is a two-person scramble. Choose the open division or the recreational division. Team entry fee of $60. Your entry fee includes 2 full rounds of disc golf, lunch provided between rounds, ace pool contest, CTP contest, 50-50 raffle, disc golf merchandise raffles. First 50 players registered receive Players Pack, which includes Disc Craft Custom Stamped Tournament Disc. Cash prizes awarded to Open Division winners. SEMO Disc Golf merchandise awarded to the Rec Division winners. All proceeds benefit the kids of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Register your team now at SEMOESPN.com. It's the St. Jude Disc Golf Classic with the SEMO Disc Golf Club and SEMO ESPN.
River Radio Deals Guide with this week's River Radio Deals half-price deal of the week. Off to Armstrong Outdoors, located in Fruitland next to Armstrong Seamless Guttering, where you will find men's, women's, and children's camouflage clothing, along with archery accessories and more. $50 certificate for half price, $25 good toward any purchase except ammunition. Certificates on sale this Thursday morning, 10 a.m. online at riverradiodeals.com.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
Areas of fog to start off the day. Clouds and the threat of a shower this afternoon with temperature up to 56 today. Skies clear tonight, low 35. Sunny tomorrow.
We are in the Cape Girardeau location. We'll be over in Jackson next week. So make a note, make a plan to join us in Jackson for lunch next Monday at 12 noon. And don't forget a lot of activities coming up this week, including Redhawk Baseball will be in action tomorrow night at home. It will be a tailgate, by the way. River Eagle Distributing and Wings, etc. will be providing the food, a free tailgate. It's a 6 o'clock game. The Arkansas State Red Wolves will be in town, and they are off to a good start. They are 15-8. They have a 3-game sweep over Missouri State under their belts. So this is a good team coming to Kapalua tomorrow. 6 o'clock first pitch, and come for the tailgate. The Redhawks softball team is red hot. They are now 25-8, and they're home all weekend playing conference games. They got off to a 3-1 start in conference play. They'll be hosting Morehead State in Eastern Kentucky this weekend. So softball is at home, and then baseball is at home tomorrow. Baseball will be on the road at Eastern Illinois this weekend. So a lot going on in terms of Redhawks athletics, and the spring practices are underway. The Redhawks quarterback, Daniel Santa Catarina, is joining us. Do you like spring practice? Are you not a fan of spring practice? Where does that rank, spring drills?
When I was playing in Illinois, I hated it because we would practice in the morning and it was like 25 degrees. But I like it here because it's a lot warmer and spring starts earlier and it's just getting on. So.
Now, I'm from Macomb, Illinois, so that's on the other, kind of on the other side of the state where Western Illinois University is from. So I grew up with that climate. Yes, it gets very cold in the morning, uncomfortable.
Yeah. So that was a good change when I came here.
So what has it been like since you guys had all the success? You won the playoff game, the excitement for Redhawks football. What's it like for you as the starting quarterback? Just the excitement level of the fan base.
It's awesome. It was good to get the the wheels starting to turn there last season, and we're still pushing to get more success and get this thing really, on top. So the work's just begun, and we got to kind of forget what happened last year as a team and just continue to push for more success. So
how much are you recognized when you go out in public? People know who you are, or they don't know who you are. You can kind of go and go to the mall and not have somebody walk up and ask you for your autograph.
There's sometimes a little bit here and there, but I don't know, not too much, I guess.
Talk about the playoff win at home, because the game was not a whole lot was working in the first half, and then all of a sudden you come out in the second half and you're the one that really kick-started some things. I don't know how many of those were designed plays where they wanted you to run, but all of a sudden you start making things happen with your legs, and it seemed like it loosened up the Stony Brook defense a little bit. Is that the way you felt?
Yeah, there was just some openings, and it's a team, offensive. It's a team job, and the offensive line gave me some holes to run. Some of them weren't designed. I guess I did kind of, nothing was working, so kind of just did a little bit of creativity, and then things started rolling for us. So.
That's the thing. When you came here, I mean, everyone knew that you were kind of a guy that can make some plays with your legs, but I think you were more thought of as kind of a pocket passer guy. But that's not totally your game. I mean, you made a lot of plays with your legs this year.
Yeah. I'd say I'm a pro-style quarterback that likes to use my feet when in need. So I think that's the style I prefer to play. So I agree with that. Yeah.
Did you see them have to start making adjustments on defense once you started hurting them on some scramble plays?
Mm-hmm. Yep. The linebackers start come up a little bit, the safeties start come up a little bit, and then we hit a couple over the top, and then all of a sudden we scored like 4 touchdowns in a span of 10 minutes or something. So, and that was a lot of the defense setting us up in a good field position. So.
You've played in a lot of football games. I'm sure you've had a lot of really awesome moments. Is that third quarter in that playoff game against Stony Brook, is that as fun a quarter of football as you've ever been a part of?
Yeah, it was. I remember it just seemed like everything just went our way, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Just all really quick, just boom, 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 turnover, touchdown, like repeat 8 times or whatever it was, 4 times. So it was a lot of fun.
That was fun, and winning the football game. What was it like on that sideline? Because you could see the jubilation in everybody's face once it was clear that the clock was ready to run out and that you had won the football game. What would that feel like? Because you transfer to Southeast. They really haven't had a whole lot of recent success in football. Every 8 years they do. It just happened to be year 8, and all of a sudden you guys win a playoff game. So you went from Northern Illinois down to Southeast, and then all of a sudden playoff game, victory, and what did that feel like?
I think the team, we just knew, I think it was the first time SEMO had ever done that, won a playoff game. So it was obviously, I mean, we knew we'd accomplished a whole lot, and yeah, it was a great feeling for us, and me personally, it was good. It was everything I dreamed of when I came here, and part of that is just, I don't know, just amazing. So.
Well, you got to get used to some new guys in the huddle, right? 14 offensive linemen. 4 of the offensive linemen have left now, graduated, and we're hoping Drew Forbes gets an opportunity at the next level. I'm sure he's going to be in a camp, so we'll certainly be rooting for Drew. SEMO's got a little history in offensive linemen with Dan Conley and Eugene Amano, had long and successful NFL careers. So all of a sudden you've got a bunch of new offensive linemen, but boy, how about that? 14 new guys coming in to compete for spots on that O-line.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be tough to not find 5 really good ones if we're signing 14 or 15 guys, so that'll be good for us. There's a lot of new guys, but as I was saying to you before, they're all new faces to me last year too, so no difference there. But yeah, the guys like Drew Forbes and Orchard and all those guys last year, some relationships that were really special to me, and it'll be tough to replace them, but I think we're off to a good start this spring, so I'm excited about it.
The guy that broadcasts the games on the radio with me, Rick Weezer, he's in the SEMO Athletic Hall of Fame. He was a quarterback here at Southeast, led him to a conference championship in the MIAA days. His favorite player was Lucas Orchard. He would watch him because he's an official on Friday nights too. He's been a referee for a lot of years.
Yeah.
So he's always looking for holding, and he views a game differently than a lot of people.
Right.
He played and he's officiated, and he would always talk about Orchard would go to the echo of the whistle, maybe a little after the whistle, and he just had a nasty streak in him. He was his favorite player. How good of a player was Lucas Orchard?
He was awesome, and one of the things that he didn't get a lot of credit for was how smart he was. He would help me with checks at the line if I wasn't seeing something clearly, and obviously his toughness, you could just see it, like you said, playing to the whistle and picking guys up and just being a really tough guy. So
he was one of those guys that you hate. If you're a defense, you hated that guy, right?
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to go against him. I want him on my team any day of the week.
So when you develop chemistry with a receiver, how long does that take? Like you got here, you and Christian Wilkerson had great chemistry, but I'm sure it didn't start from day one. How long does that take? What's a process like that go through?
It's hit and miss. Sometimes it's right away.
Yeah.
You just know. I mean, if someone's really good, you're gonna like throwing to them. Sometimes it's chemistry that builds over a season, and when you get a combination of those two, you get something really special. And a lot of the guys in the receiving core, I have a really strong chemistry with. And Christian, obviously, you saw all the touchdowns he scored last year, but there's plenty of other guys in the core like Zach Smith and Colby and Aaron, and a couple other guys that are coming up. So it's we're going to have another strong year, hopefully.
And all of a sudden, it used to be you run that jet sweep or, the old term, the end around, where the wide receiver will come and you'll hand the football up. They've changed that now. You just kind of flip it and you get passing yards out of that.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is to do with if you hand it off, it's a fast handoff, and if you fumble it, it's a fumble. If you're passing it, flipping it, it's an incomplete pass. So it makes sense to do it that way, and we've been successful with it. So
now in high school, did you guys just hand it off? Was that something that you first started to do once you got to the college level?
Yeah, even at my last school, NIU, we would hand it off, and I think it's a lot better to just flip it. So
there's less downside, it seems like. I mean, it seems like just all positives potentially. And Zach got really good at it, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And he wants the receiving yards too, so it works out for both of us.
So in a foot race, who wins with the wide receivers?
That'd be tough to answer. Maybe Colby or Z, one of those two, I'd say, for sure.
It's interesting. You obviously have never had to make the switch from quarterback to wide receiver, but Colby Cornett has made that. How big of an adjustment do you think that is to do that?
That's amazing. You got to be really athletic to do that. I would never be able to. They'd probably stick me on defense somewhere where I don't know, but I definitely would not be able to play receiver, so it's impressive.
Got to be a great athlete, and as the season developed, it looked like you really started to trust him and get him more involved in the game plan, because at the end of the season, I mean, he was making plays.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's done even better in spring, getting a year older and taking more steps. So. And everybody's starting to do that, so it's been a positive 4 days for us, and we've got to keep on pushing. So,
how about this stable of running backs that you're going to have with Mark Robinson and Zion Custis and Geno Hess? We didn't see a lot of Geno, but he was in there for a little while. I think the Tennessee Tech game, he got some work, and you could just tell that he's got a lot of talent as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some talent in that backfield, right?
Yeah, and all three of them are a little different, and I think that will create a lot of good things for our offense. So, Mark's the power guy, and Zion's got a little shiftiness, and then it seems like Geno does a little bit of everything really well. So it's going to be good to see those guys in action. Daniel
Santa Catarina, Redhawks quarterback, joining us here on the Coaches Show. How often does someone come back to the huddle? Man, I was open. Did you not see me?
Not that often. If it's really open, I should know, because that means I made a mistake by not throwing it to him. So that's things you talk about on the sideline, and it's not an aggressive thing. It's just, hey, talk about it and get with the coaches and then move on. So it happens every once in a while.
How often have you forgot the snap count? You just gave it to everybody. You're walking to the line. What did I say? Does it ever happen?
I don't think it's ever happened.
Okay, so it's never happened.
No.
But it's got to be uncomfortable. Like if a lineman forgets it, you ever have a lineman forget and have to ask somebody?
Yeah, there are plenty of times because I try to keep the volume down when I'm giving the codes so the defense doesn't hear it. And then sometimes I'll be too soft with it. Then the lineman will ask, and I'll go tell them again. But that happens fairly frequently, a couple times a game maybe.
How tough is it sometimes when you're playing in a loud atmosphere to really, hear each other? How much of a distraction can that be?
It's not as big as a distraction as you would think, although I guess the snap count, that would be the main thing, just being able to verbally say our cadence. Sometimes you got to go with a leg so they can see it, and then they snap it. So that can get difficult at times.
What about, do you like working out of shotgun better than you do up under center, or how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I like shotgun. I was in under center probably half the time in high school, so I'm comfortable with both. It really doesn't make any difference to me.
Boy, the game has really evolved into the shotgun. I remember growing up as a kid, like the Dallas Cowboys were the only team that ran shotgun. Roger Staubach would be in the shotgun. Now, I mean, it's an upset if a team does go under center, right?
Yeah, it's I see it in the Midwest. A lot of Big Ten teams still run the under center, and it's still a lot of teams still do it, but more times than not, you go in shotgun nowadays. So
the importance of the quarterback has never been bigger in college football than it is right now. I mean, if a team doesn't have a good quarterback, they can have a great defense, they can have a star running back, but if you don't have a good quarterback, you're not winning a whole lot of football games. You are coming back as a senior. How much does the experience that you have factor in, not only for the confidence of the coaching staff, but for your players? I mean, knowing that you have probably seen it all, you're a veteran, you don't get excited under pressure. How big is that for the guys who you're around?
I'd assume it's a good thing to have a second-year guy, and not only for everybody else, it's confidence for myself, because that was my first real year as a starter for a program. So I got to now take what I learned from last year and execute even better this year. So should be good.
How much pressure do you feel to be a leader? Because it seems like the position of quarterback, leadership is expected.
I don't feel any pressure with that. Just be myself. That's part of the reason why I got to this point is, being a leader as a quarterback. You got to have that. That's part of why I was recruited, I think, and you just got to be yourself every day, and that's just kind of what happens. So.
Tell us a little bit about the recruiting process, how you ended up coming and putting on a Redhawk jersey.
So it was really down to SEMO and Eastern Illinois, and I was going to Eastern Illinois, and then they kind of balked at the very last minute because I was having a surgery. And then the minute they balked, Coach Tuke called me just by chance, and he wanted to come down for a visit. And it went really well, and he just wanted me to come up for a visit down here, and that went really well. And when I was on my way back to home, Eastern Illinois called again. They're saying, "All right, we're gonna offer you." I'm like, I'm not going to Eastern Illinois now. I'm going to SEMO. Sorry.
You blew it.
Yeah. So and then I committed that same day. So.
That's fantastic. So, grass or turf? Do you have a preference playing on either surface?
No, maybe to practice on grass because it's, especially in the summer, it's a little less hot. But I have no preference, to be honest.
Those little rubber pellets can get irritating, though, can't they?
Yeah, I guess especially maybe if you got your hand on the dirt, maybe. But my guys keep me protected well enough, so.
So as you look at the schedule coming up, we're going to talk with Coach Tuke coming up in just a couple of minutes about the schedule. When the schedule came out, what were your thoughts on that? We're going to Montana State. SIU Carbondale is coming over here. What were your thoughts on the schedule?
I know we have SIU first, and I've heard we have Montana and Missouri as well. Those would be good games, but really just focused on spring ball right now. I know that SIU game will be, I hope, packed because it's going to be a night game, Thursday night, I think. So that'll be a really fun environment, hopefully.
It'll be August 29th. It is a Thursday game, and a 6:30 kickoff. And that's always a fun game. I know Red Hawk fans really like playing SIU. It's Coach Tuke's former school. Do you hear from Coach Tuke? I really want to beat these guys. Come on.
It's no different than any other week.
Now, that's what he says. I was just hoping maybe.
No, it's really not. You talk about the rivalry. It's nothing personal for him, I don't think. So it's not about, make it about himself at all. So.
How fun was that, though? That was a great football game. Late comeback. You win the game on the road. Great way to, have a statement early in last season.
Yeah, that definitely slingshotted us, to some more success down the road. And it was a very fun game. That was another moment where I'll remember for a long time, that ending of that game. So.
Have you ever seen a running back as hot as Marquez Terry was in that game?
No. I was making poor decisions by giving him the ball half the time, because he was just, every time he handed the ball off to him, he'd run for 60 yards, and me and Coach McDowell were like, I don't know what to say. Kind of dude's running wild, so he was unbelievable that day.
Very, very fun. All right, so the spring game is going to be April 13th, so you're 1 week down with spring practice with 3 weeks to go. And let's hope the weather holds out for you guys. It's not 20 degrees in the mornings like it is over in Illinois. We thank you so much for joining us. You said you're a bone-in wing guy.
Yes. Yeah.
And what flavor?
Medium.
Medium. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm mild. Just can't. Yeah. No heat whatsoever. Daniel, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and best of luck finishing up spring ball.
Thank you.
All right, that's Daniel Santa Catarina, the Redhawks quarterback. We'll be back to wrap things up with Coach Tuke, get his thoughts on the upcoming 2019 schedule that the Redhawks will be playing. It all starts against SIU on August 29th, Thursday night game at Houck Stadium. More with Coach Tuke from the Coaches Show at Wings after this.
Deals guy with this week's River Radio Deals half-price deal of the week. Off to Armstrong Outdoors, located in Fruitland next to Armstrong Seamless Guttering, where you will find men's, women's, and children's camouflage clothing, along with archery accessories and more. $50 certificate for half price, $25 good toward any purchase except ammunition. Certificates on sale this Thursday morning, 10 a.m. online at riverradiodeals.com.
Hi, this is John Bon Jovi, asking you to go to serve.gov to get involved in something you believe in. I'm a big believer in the power of we. We can tackle the tough challenges we face and build community through service and volunteering. United we stand, united we serve. Are you with me? Go to serve.gov for more information about how to volunteer in your community.
This message is brought to you by United We Serve and the Corporation for National and Community Service.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
Areas of fog to start off today. Clouds and the threat of a shower this afternoon with temperature up to 56 today. Skies clear tonight, low 35. Sunny tomorrow with a high 55. And generous sunshine on Wednesday.
Location next week, so please join us there. And if you're headed to Wings, don't forget that their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.99. They've got food and drink specials throughout the week, including Mondays, 69 cents for their award-winning jumbo wings. Daniel Santa Catarina just gave a very strong endorsement to the bone-in wings here at Wings Etc. And Coach Tuke rejoining us. The football schedule, Coach, everybody always gets excited when it's time to see what the schedule has for us. And you're going to start it off with SIU again this year. I think there are a lot of people that really like the fact that SIU is back on the schedule. They have been for a while, but there was a several-year gap there where SEMO didn't play SIU, and I know that a lot of people think that they should be playing every year.
We should. I mean, we absolutely should. And it makes sense in a lot of ways, and the reason we weren't playing them is because they have about a $20 million budget more than us. That's why we weren't playing. But we need to catch up with them, and it needs to be a good game. It's a good game for their fan base, our fan base. There's no reason we shouldn't play a game. I'm glad we got, we play for a trophy. That's what college football is all about. And so opening up at home's big. At our level, not a lot of times you get to do that. My first head coaching game here, we opened at home, but haven't since. And so be able to have all this energy and momentum from last year, you're in that first 2 weeks of school, so a lot of the newcomer students are there, and it's just a great time to have a football game, plus at night.
And the wheel will be there.
Yeah.
And how cool is it for you? I don't know, I get your thoughts. The guy you worked for years, Jerry Kill, has come back to SIU, all the success he had in football, and is now the athletics director over there.
Yeah, I mean he's not just sitting around hanging out. He's in there making a bunch of moves and doing a lot of good things. And SIU is great to me and my family. Coach Kill is great to me and my family, and will forever have a great place in my heart and soul. But now they're just on the other side of the mission, and the mission's to beat them.
And you've beaten them twice already since you've been the head coach. Going to Montana State, it'll be in Bozeman, Montana, September 7th. You and I were talking. I had been to the University of Montana. We played basketball there, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, and they had a home playoff football game that weekend against Western Illinois. I went over to that football game, so I know what the atmosphere is like at the University of Montana. I guess we'll get to see Montana State for the first time. How familiar are you with their program?
They're going to be preseason ranked. I'm sure we'll be preseason ranked. They're a playoff team last year. It's a great environment, great facilities. So it's literally like a playoff game. We're going to get on a plane, fly out there, play a top 25 team. So, I mean, it doesn't get any better, does it?
No, it does not.
I'm sure the team's excited about it. And, we just got a lot of opportunity. We can't get caught up in it. We just got to get caught up in trying to get better right now.
And the money game this year will be at the University of Missouri. You probably like that game.
Yeah, absolutely. All of our kids want to play that game. They grow up hearing about the Tigers and getting to run out onto that field and all that. I was the only guy in this town, I think, that was excited about all them penalties they were getting. I was hoping they'd keep coming. I'm still waiting for that quarterback to leave, but I guess he's sticking in there, and good. Let's go up there and see what he's all about.
I'm not familiar much with West Virginia State. How did that game come about?
Because we didn't have a game. We've been scrambling trying to find a game, and so it just finally ended up they needed a game, we needed a game, and got it scheduled.
Perfect. And then when you get into conference play, you do have to go to Austin Peay and Jacksonville State, and I'm sure in the preseason polls, those two will be probably up near the top. Jacksonville, obviously is always up near the top, but Austin Peay's program is taking steps forward, so those will be tough road games.
Exactly. No, I mean, you hit it on the head. The thing that everybody, my team needs to understand is last year doesn't help us this year. In fact, it hurt us. We're going to get everybody's best. And so if I mean, literally anybody could beat us any game. You got to take it game by game, and we just got to, have a good process about how we go about preparation for every game. But we got to build depth. Like, that's what spring's all about. Like, baseball's going through it now. Like, if you don't have depth, you don't have a good team, because you're one play away from being average. And if Santa Catarina goes down and the ambulance comes and takes me off the field, because if that happens, I'm going to need the ambulance.
Get the paddles.
How are we going to win the game? Because we still got to win the game. And so that's what spring ball's all about, is building depth. We have these marquee players, but we need a bunch of good players, because it just takes a lot. And injuries happen; they're part of the game.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they have to cancel the spring game last year because of bad weather? Was that?
Last year.
Anyway, the spring game is April 13th. We want to let everybody know. We'd like to have a nice crowd for that game.
Yeah, we won't cancel it. It's on.
All right.
So we're going to unveil our rings, the rings that the teams get, and we're going to I think they're doing some seating stuff and some season ticket stuff, I believe. So it's a free tailgate. First of all, you go to the baseball game Friday?
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what, Cape loves some fish and some free beer.
You're
now,
not
they
kidding.
come out of the woodworks. I didn't get any fish.
You didn't get there early enough.
Yeah,
that's a rookie move not to get there early.
Yeah.
Now they've got another tailgate tomorrow, Wings, etc., and River Eagle. So you get it tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. You're gonna have to get there early.
I know it. But we got a pro day tomorrow. That's really
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we go at 10 in the morning, and we got I believe 12 or 14 teams committed to come. I think we have 6 athletes working out, and it's they've put a lot of work into this moment. This is a program moment. Of course, we got Forbes, but we got a lot of other seniors that are hoping and praying that they get one team to look at them, give them an opportunity, because that's all you can ask for. And so that's a big day, and we'll put a lot of stuff on social media, so be looking for that stuff to come out tomorrow afternoon.
Also, as you get ready to, get ready for the football season, Drew Forbes, a guy obviously that has, pro scouts have seen him. He is on their radar. Is there a chance he's going to get drafted? I'm sure he'll probably be in an NFL camp, even if he's not drafted, right?
Yeah, I think a lot depends tomorrow. His film's good enough. I forget the team he's flown out to see. I hate to say it, be wrong, but so there's been a lot of interest, but it is literally, if you have a bad day, you got a bad day, But the other thing happens, too, and you see it all the time at the combine. All of a sudden, a guy skyrockets because of that. It is a really deep year for O-linemen, from what I'm told, and so that may affect it also. But I think Drew Forbes is going to turn some heads, because on paper, like, he may be a 4.7, 4.8 guy. Like, he is
really,
he is that fast. So we'll see what that looks like, and he's done all the preparation, so he'll kill it.
With this great run that you had, winning a playoff game, you're a top 25 program. Have you gotten in the living rooms of guys that maybe you wouldn't have before on the recruiting trail?
I don't think so, not yet. I still think it almost works like a year in advance type stuff. I think that'll help us next year in the recruiting cycle. But really, we're not a program yet. We were a top 25 team, but we need to be a top 25 program. Can we consistently have that? That's how you can, I think, get maybe to a different echelon of recruit. But we did sign them quicker. It was easier to sign them. But I think we're still, working the same kind of pool.
Still 3 more weeks in spring ball, and then April 13th for the spring scrimmage. Can't wait for that, Coach. We appreciate your time. Thanks so much for giving us an hour of your time. That's Coach Tom Matukowicz. Thanks to Daniel Santa Catarina. Thanks to Mike Rennick, our chief engineer on site today. We'll get you to the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. So long from Wings, etc.